Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. I'm sorry for the tardiness, everybody. I wanted to make sure I got everything right. I wanted to make sure my notes were right. I want to make sure I listened to the whole thing from. Shout out to the brother Bernard Riley. You know, you know. Look, me and Bernard disagree politically, but he is a great host. Bernard is a great host. He's even keel. It's difficult to get him unsettled. I really enjoy that about him. But you got to bet damn near literally be like Beelzebub incarnate to get under his skin. Like, and I respect that about him so much, right? So shout out to that brother. And we're in election season, so Bernard, get ready for me to start popping up on your panel soon to start debating some of the conservative brothers. Shout out to Hoodservative. I hope y'all ready. Okay, so I just wanted to do my shout out on that. Shout out to Ed for mentioning me multiple times in this conversation. I will try my hardest to continue to be that person that these kind of interlopers and people that are like kind of looking and seeing what's going on over here in the Black Manosphere streets. I will continue to try to be that person that they speak to, initially, right? So, anyway, and that they engage with, even though my channel is still super small and it feel is the word. Yeah, I'm gonna use it. It does feel like certain people are snooping in and pretending like they're not. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. So we got that out the way. Um, BGS pulled up, Hoodservative pulled up, Roguish pulled up. Apparently, Mr. Z was the only one that didn't know this was going on. The only reason I knew is I think somebody, who was it, Kareem, put a comment in one of my comments, and I think either Gender Warlord or somebody else said something, and I was like, wait, FD pulled up. Where was I? You know where Mr. Z was? I think I was asleep. Literally. Right? And so shout out to Gender Warlord. Oh, maybe it was D Scott. D Scott said yes, I was. Okay. So and then shout out to D Scott, shout out to Kareen, all the people that was like Z, where you at? Like, right? So man, I'm like, for me to be the one person that doesn't pull up, Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. It is what it is. And so to all the brothers that were speaking to FD, and let me say this to Mr. Fantastic. We disagree almost completely politically, right? The last time I spoke to Mr. Fantastic, it did settle down towards the end, but it was a complete and total shouting match, and that was years ago. Yes, FD sneak disses, but we sneak diss too in the Black Manosphere, right? As y'all saw on my channel, I made sure to tell him, I'm catching your sneak disses, but I'm the host, you're my guest, I'm letting certain things slide. I think this is a product of size, and I'm not saying this because I'm saying that Mr. Fantastic is a big dumb jock. I'm not saying that. I want to make sure. But Mr. Fantastic, I remember him talking, and I remember him describing his size. I was like, what the hell? Like, all these 6'4", 6'5" Negroes in the Black Manosphere, like, what? What? I've never felt short in my life, right? Mr. Z is 5'9". I've never felt short in my life. But every once in a while, you hear people talk, and you're like, what in the, like, where did all these, like, 6'4", 6'3", 6'7" Negroes come from, right? And I think also recently I went to a car show, and, like, I was around a bunch of, brothers from the Caribbean and different Black Americans, and I was just like, what in the, where did all these trees come from, right? So, and I'm saying that to say, where I was socialized to be able to debate different people, not to mention Mr. Fantastic is in the military now. From my understanding, he's retiring soon. So there's that also. Where I was socialized to be able to take those hits and not get too unsettled, I can see that maybe Mr. Fantastic wasn't socialized that way. I'm not saying that he may not have the ability fully, but his default isn't that. So the second he feels any type of slight, it's like he can't discipline himself so much, right? And once again, I'm not saying that I don't think Mr. Fantastic is a big dumb jock. I'm saying his default doesn't seem to be that. And when you engage with people like FD signifier and these particularly these the Kim Fosters, the FD signifiers, these kind of lefty, liberal, and progressive in, intelligence or intellectuals, right? Um, you have to know they're gonna come in with the condescending. They're gonna come in with the sneak dissing. They're gonna come in with the well, you didn't read this, and if you would have knew about that, and the reason why you it's always to tell you essentially the reason why you don't align with me is because you're ill informed. And if you were just more informed, then you would understand, and maybe we could disagree on the very minute things and get caught up in the minutia, but you would understand what I'm saying, and you would more likely agree with me. You gotta know there that the left always comes at that angle, right? You have to know that's a thing. So, and I'm just saying that, putting that out there for Mr. Fantastic, right? Like, brother, there was so many, and Bernard Riley was right. Like, it, BGS and Bernard Riley, they had him pinned. They had him pinned, and I saw the chess move. I'm like, oh, it's coming, and Fantastic just couldn't help it, and he flipped the table over, and it was like, come, ah, because I pinned FD. I pinned FD without Black Uru's help, without BGS's help, without Green Gorilla's help, without Dr. T. Hassan Johnson's help. So a tag team between Bernard Riley and BGS, they had him. And Fantastic just couldn't help it. You know, so brother, that's all I'm saying. Just and you know, even after that, Fantastic came back down. And as y'all saw, like, FD just shrugged that off and continued. It's like, bro, you know, okay. Fantastic had to get that off his chest. All right, fine. Cool. Let's get into it. Okay. Let me see. I got notes down because I want to make sure that I don't lose my points. I want to make sure Mr. Z don't lose his points. Okay. Let's not miss what Ed said about the elite, and I want to give Ed, this is the term, the petite bourgeoisie of black women. Those elite black women sold out the entire civil rights movement to rub elbows with white women, and they screwed everybody in the black community, including working class black women. And the only thing they got for working class black women is, we both agree that black men ain't ish, right? So when Ed was saying, y'all, like what he was saying to FD, and as a matter, did Ed say that right before FD jumped on? I think he said that right before FD jumped back on. Right? And FD don't have any response to that because he knows it's true. And I'm glad that Ed was able to back him into a wall to essentially say, and Bernard, let me give both of them brothers their credit, and Rogish, try team, right? And as much as I disagree with SKC was giving him that work too, right? And good job, SKC, on doing the research and knowing enough about FD to tell him, hey, I read your stuff. You didn't say this, that, and that. And I don't watch enough of your content. You didn't say this, that, and that. So going back to what I'm saying, getting FD to admit that he don't got a problem with the matriarchy and that the real problem is white supremacy, which, by the way, that part I agree with him on. I agree that the final boss isn't a black woman. It's an old white dude. I agree with him on that. The final boss in this game is not a black woman. It's an old white dude. What we're saying is the black women are playing the white dude's game. That's the part that you, brother FD, refuses to acknowledge. They are knowing, willing participants. The elite, you okay, fine. Okay, for argument's sake, it ain't all black women. Cool. And even the majority of black women. All right, I'm even willing to concede that. Although they will occasionally pull out that tool to try to discipline a black man. All right, fine. But the petite bourgeoisie, the elite black women, oh yeah, the Kim Fosters, you know, the little bitter hurt girl that y'all keep on claiming over there. The petite bourgeoisie of intersectional black feminism, of black women, They're perfectly okay with not only with the matriarchy, the only problem they have, this is the only problem they have, is that black men aren't willing to play their role. And well, let's add to that, and that they will never be the upper middle class and rich white women that they want to be. That's their major gripes. Black men now refuse to play second fiddle. And brother FD, y'all still don't have an answer for how do you incentivize the men to do? How do you incentivize black men to uphold the structure while telling them they're going to play second fiddle to black women? And y'all don't have no answers. And if you want to know what Kevin did, Kevin exposed that. All those interviews with the women, they essentially, all the interviews for the women, let me boil it down for you. You're the paymaster, that's your job. Let me just boil down all the Kevin interviews with all those different women, all those conversations for 2 years. Let me boil it down for you. Your job is to come in with the money and do what I say. Put me in a position to live an extravagant life. Give me the security and then let me be free still. What? And there you go. If you want to know what all of it boils down to, it's I see you as a walking wallet. You working class ones don't even deserve respect. You poor ones are invisible. And at least you elite ones, you still got to bow down. Your job is to fund my life. That's your job, black man, beginning, end. And by the way, that exists in the black matriarchy. Ooh, goddamn, Mr. Z. FD, remember, most of those women, almost all of those women calling in were not divestors. Those were everyday black women, all the way from educated to uneducated, and they're all saying the same thing. You're just a wallet. So all this, oh no, that's part of the patriarchy. Clearly not. Because even in the black matriarchy, your own words, even in the black matriarchy, the women are asking you to be a wallet. Sorry, I said asking. Demanding that you be a wallet. Right? So there go the Kevin piece. Right? So I wanted to make sure that I brought that up. What Ed was saying about how these people sold out, these elite, these academics sold out to the white female academics. They threw black men under the bus to be part of academia, and all they did, shout out to Toya, was intellectualize their misandry and then sell it back to white folks. Oh, wait. The white left and the right. But the white left want to hear about how horrible black men are, and then they'll let us be in academia for 30 years. Oh, I could do that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I could definitely do that. Don't worry. I got issues with my dad anyway. I got issues with my ex-boyfriend anyway. I got issues with my ex-husband anyway. I got issues with the fact that a couple of these Black Panther brothers were air quotes talking black and sleeping white anyway. Oh, that's all I gotta do is sell out these Negroes, and y'all will let me be in academia intellectualizing my misandry for 30 and 40 years? Oh, I could do that. And don't miss Friedman's point when he brought up all of those women in that are part of the school board in different cities. FD knew exactly what he was saying. And by the way, FD don't disagree with you, brother. He can't say that there. He knew exactly the point you were making. Right? FD knows everything that we're saying. He knows everything that we're saying is real. It's, could y'all go back to picking the cotton though? Y'all are being too loud. Right? Y'all are being too loud. Y'all making it a little uncomfortable. Right? The angry feminists that I chill with, they feeling attacked. Right? The white guys in academia and the white women in academia starting to ask them too many questions, and now they asking me. Right? So next point. Oh, and let's not forget this point. They sold out the entire black community, mainly black men and working class black women, just so they could live in those white neighborhoods that they claim they don't want to live in, rubbing elbows and doing something else with those white people that they claim they can't stand, and driving these Benzes and Beamers, and still being single. Oh, and miserable. Continuing. Also, FD came up to Bernard. Remember some of his initial comments. Essentially, Pearl is tied to the Black Manosphere. I'm tied to the Black Manosphere. Y'all gonna mess up my money. When he was speaking about how these things tie in, understand that was his complaint. Y'all have tagged me in enough of y'all titles. Now y'all tagging her enough of y'all titles. Y'all have used me as a thumbnail. Y'all have used her as a thumbnail. Y'all gonna mess my money up. Which one of y'all let the white girl in the door and she over here talking reckless? Y'all gonna mess my money up. Right? Don't forget what he was saying initially when he jumped in. Which one of you Negroes let the white women in the door? Now she playing down, but he didn't even say that part. But whoever let the white women in the door, y'all about to mess my money up. Right? Also, I had to do a BGS was right moment. Here go to BGS was right moment. BGS said he wasn't going nowhere. BGS said, yeah, he ain't going nowhere. And he did say, yeah, I'm always snooping in and listening in. And essentially, I'm always going to be listening in. Because FD actually likes the camaraderie over here. He ain't never going to say that out loud, though. Right? He ain't never going to say it out loud. He likes the brotherhood over here. He likes the camaraderie over here. FD could have jumped off that panel so early. Because let me tell you, as a person that has been in real life conversations in real life, look, with a bunch of people on the left, sometimes you got to detox and get around your brothers. FD enjoyed that talk. He felt like it was the barbershop. Right? Now I'm going to get into some other reasons why he was here also. The snooping in, the investigation of the Black Manosphere. Right? I'm going to get into some of that in a little bit. Right? But I also, talking about BGS, the look, I'm not about disrespecting the elders. Right? I'm not about disrespecting the elders. Saying nigga to BGS the way he was saying it and trying to bring BGS down to size, being blatantly disrespectful, and this is going to what Kareen was saying about him being rude. I get you don't hold BGS in high regard. You don't have to look at BGS the way many of us in the Black Manosphere do. That's cool. Nobody is. It's not about worshiping BGS. It's not about being a BGS disciple, right? Or being a BGS sycophant. No. Right? But they're just saying, come on, nigga, come on. Ugh. And then with that kind of attitude and that extra sass and right, very insulting. Very insulting. And I guess you were doing that for whatever, one or two black women might be listening to Bernard Riley from your side of the camp. to let them know you don't see this old dude. All right, cool. Right? I get it. You got to let BGS know you ain't scared of him. I get it. Right? And J Log says Ed was going at him too. And yeah, and I'm glad Ed was able to box him into and beat and Bernard Riley were able to box him in to say, yeah, matriarchy. Yeah, I would say it leads more matriarchy than patriarchy. And Bernard asked him without saying these exact words. So what's the incentive for the boys and the men? Crickets. There is none. And thank you, Bernard Riley, for saying that's pretty much that's my biggest regret when I spoke to him, what I didn't ask. Then what's the incentive? And I'm happy Bernard Riley got him on that because when he dropped off initially, I was like, damn, nobody asked him. I missed my opportunity to ask him. Bernard didn't let him jump off the panel. Bernard didn't ask him, and somebody finally pinned him on that. That's the most important part of the conversation to me. Everything else we already know. We already know everything else. But for him, and it's important that he says it so he can hear himself say it. I don't got no. Not only that, do I not have any incentive? None of us do. This is why Kim Foster keeps on saying it over and over again. Y'all need to drop these ideas of patriarchy. Y'all ain't never gonna be like the white man patriarchy. Da, 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 da. Because they want you to leave it alone. Stop trying to be a man, black man. Because man means white man, black man. Stop trying to be a patriarch, a lowercase p patriarch, even in your own homes. They know the vast majority of black men are not asking to go around the world, conquering it, taking people's heads off, or even dominating black women. They know that's not what the majority of us are on. They're telling you can't even have that nuclear family. No. Children? No. A wife? For 30, 40, 50 years? 60 years? No. Right? And I'm glad that Bernard Riley and the rest of the panel were able to finally get him this. Yeah, it leads more matriarchy than patriarchy. And we don't really have any answers. Now, I will say this. I don't doubt that FD does have. I don't think he was just playing when he was kind of saying like, yeah, these academics, you know. These female academics, yeah, they. So it's like he knows what side he's on. He's been eating the crap from these sexist, anti-black, misandrous female academics. I want you to peep game. The reason why he ain't pushed back on that as much is because he's know they full of crap. He knows they're full of crap. Right? But he still wants us to drink the Kool-Aid. Brother, black men are not going to play second fiddle to black women's misogyny. Misandry. They're not playing second fiddle to especially the Kim Fosters of the world. You think black men are going to follow Kim Foster? Paris Milan? Okay, let's get away from the divestors and the divestor adjacent. Khadijah and Kim Foster, you think black men are going to follow the queer black woman? We can mention Cat Black too. The trans black woman, the queer black woman, and the other black woman. Well, actually, this counts for all three of them, but definitely Kim Foster, right? And Khadijah. You think black men are going to follow behind the black women that are still mad about who didn't want them in high school? The ones that try to legitimate and intellectualize their misandry? You think black men are going to follow behind that? I'm glad that. So that's a black man that actually. So you got Donovan, not Donovan Sharp, Donovan from the Grapevine. That towards the Well, it wasn't towards the end because the grapevine went on for a while, but that sit on a panel that the black community is a matriarchy, and the black women looking at him like, oh, and now you have FD years later. What's that? 5 years later, 6 years later. That's also saying, yeah, the black community is a matriarchy. Okay, cool. Now what? How do you get the black boys and the black men to do? Y'all don't got no answers. Do it anyway. Why? I'm so glad Bernard O'Reilly said what he said. So you want black men to do and then play second fiddle to sexist, misandrous black men? I mean, black women? Oh, hell no. No. Right? And FD, no one has an answer to that. Right? Don't miss that he essentially said the black manosphere is kind of needed. He know it's not going nowhere. Of course it's not going anywhere. And don't miss what BGS and Bernard and all of them and SKC and everyone was attempting to tell you, and that you already understood. It exists because y'all existed first and y'all did nothing. Your intellectual side of this conversation, FD, been in academia for 50 years, more than 50 years. And the most y'all produced is a-hole, mean, bitter, intelligent black women who've intellectualized their misandry and Barack Obama. That's what y'all. That's the most y'all got us. Kamala, Barack, a bunch of black mayors and mainly black women mayors, and Congress members. That's what y'all got. Oh, can't forget Oprah. Sorry. Right? Years, decades. And what we got from y'all was Barack, Oprah, Kamala, and them. Huh. Right? Huh. So the matriarchy has gotten us a whole lot of highly educated black women who despise their own sons and their own fathers and their own husbands. And they're sexist. And they're still mad at the black men. What? Demetrius, oh, you just gave me content, brother. And Demetrius says, by the way, Z, Donovan from the Grapevine made a new show on YouTube called Stranger Fruit Podcast. Thought you might want to check it out. Thank you, brother. Because I was wondering what happened to all, yeah, I was wondering what happened to all of them. Every once in a while, I'll type in the channel name and I'm like, okay, it's still, inactive for the most part. Right. And thank you very much for that. I'm going to leave your comment up for a little while. I like to leave the super chat comments up to, acknowledge and thank you once again. I always appreciate the, y'all support. Right. But the Black Manosphere is going to continue being here. I'm glad he said it. You want to know why? The brothers here are having real conversations and pushing for real action. Right? I'm going to get into the whole benign neglect. I'm going to get into how you essentially described social dominance order without saying the words. When he was answering a question, I can't remember if it was from Ed or from Bernard or who it was from, but you essentially described social dominance order and you didn't even catch it. Which is why it's easier for elite white men to have women of color around them than the men of color. Particularly in the black community. Have black women around them instead of the black men. Have black women of prominence and note instead of black men. You describe social dominance order. And you described why black women are the colonizing agent, because they're easier to control. They're more pliable. They're not a threat, right? That part, and that part, right? So also I wanted to bring up MD essentially saying he can tolerate so much BS from the Black Manosphere, but his line is just pearly things, which I think Bernard said also, right? His line is just, who let the white woman in the room, right? How did the white woman get here, right? And I can and we've been having vigorous debates and conversations about just pearly things over the past week or so. So coming in trying to troll us with the white woman, which so many of y'all are trying to do from different sectors of black YouTube or black social media, coming in trying to troll the Black Manosphere with the white women. Oh yeah, look, y'all let the white women beat ahead of y'all, and I'm so glad Bernard. That's the beauty of having Bernard and Ed on the panel, right? Because you can't out history us. We know exactly where she came from. Bernard described the algorithm and the shorts and how her numbers exploded perfectly, right? So trying to troll us with just pearly things being the head of the Black Manosphere, no, right? Absolutely not, right? And Alan Stranger says, and thank you for the super chat, Alan. And Alan Stranger says, I love how FD came uninvited. Bro, no one was coming to see you, Otis. No one came to see you, Otis. No one coming to see you, Otis, right? Be a sphere to yourself. He definitely gives off shove into a locker. Oh, shoved into a locker vibes. He definitely gives off shoved into a locker vibes. Look, BGS said he wasn't gonna go anywhere. That's why I said BGS was right. And remember what BGS also said. Are you sure you want to hang around here, because the Black Manosphere will change you? Don't forget, this brother is now, at the gym, doing mixed martial arts workout. The question is, would FD have done that if he would have never been snooping around the Black Manosphere? I'm not saying it wasn't part of something that he wanted to do before. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying it's very interesting that this brother's now, working out and all this other stuff, right? And particularly the mixed martial arts that he's talking about, right? Speaking, and he interviewed his coach and all this other stuff. It's very interesting that that comes after the Black Manosphere. I'm not saying that he wasn't going to do it anyway, right? And maybe he's doing it also, like Alan said, because maybe he was shoved in a locker when he was younger, right? So there's that also. Next point, because I got, and like I said, FD being here for somewhat of the camaraderie. It's like a scab, right? It looks kind of ugly, but you peel it and it feels kind of good, but it hurts at the same time. And let's be, bro, Mr. Z done been in lefty spaces. They don't have no answers for men over there, particularly black men. FD know he got to come here to hear anything real. Those group chats that he's in with Khadijah and Kim and T Noir and them, they not saying nothing real about no men over there. Him and the brother Rossford James, they got to go probably create their own little black male part of this to have any type of borderline real conversation about black man stuff. Because they can't talk none of that in the same group chat with Kim Foster or Khadijah or Kat Black. You coming over here for Mr. Z? Are you gonna say it? You're coming over here for this air quotes toxic masculinity. You know the real. Not all that BS they talking over there on that side and playing down some of these excuse me, the relationship between men and women and alpha Fs and beta sims. You're over here for that conversation. You're over here for that because you know they're not talking about that over there, even though they know it. Well, they practice it. Let's do that. Right? You're over here for that, for this. So let's not also understand why FD's over here. He did his research already. He already put out the mini doc, right? The expose, right? The think piece, the video essay, whatever you want to call it. And it did numbers. He took it down, put it back up, and it did numbers again. And like he said, he's going to continue to snoop in and listen in. Because all those decades that you were taught and you under the tutelage of all those intersectional feminists, they didn't talk nothing like this. Right? They didn't talk anything like this. And you shouldn't expect them to. The goal is to keep you on the plantation, not be honest that you're on a plantation, though. That's not cotton you picking. It's daisies. Right? Stop trying to be a man, black man. Next point. Yeah, Mrs. Z got some points, right? And so FD spoke essentially about the spectacle, which is some of the things that I was speaking about. Maybe was that earlier this week or late last week? The spectacle that is the black male, black woman kind of back and forth gender disagreement, argument. And that's essentially what he was describing when he was saying, why aren't white men kind of the face of this space, right? Now, Mr. Fantastic did have a good point where he was like, yeah, they're not going to be because they're old. We're the trendsetters. And good point. And FD's rebuttal was also a pretty good point, which is like, well, they steal everything else. So, why aren't they the face? And they're not the face because this society will not let the white male, white female gender disagreement be mainstream. That's a good point there, right? Which is, I'll put the microscope on y'all and then we could watch y'all, like I said earlier, the Rock'em Sock'em robots, right? We will, white men and white women will proxy war each other through the black community, right? Think Vietnam, think Afghanistan in the 80s, right? I back this side, you back that side, and we let them go to war in their own country and rip their country apart. But my country's okay and your country's okay. Right? Or this country goes to war with that country and then I back this side. I back the opposing side. So there is something to be said about what FD said with that. Right? But also, one of the other reasons is because white men they're still not feeling it to the same degree black men are. That's another reason why they're not in these spaces. Not to the degree, of course, they're a larger population, their sphere is larger. Pause. right? But they're not feeling it to this. You're talking about old white men, right? Not even young white men, like Mr. Fantastic was saying. You're talking about old white men. Old white men who are married. They're married. They're established. They have the 2.3 kids and the wife, and they live in the suburbs with the white picket fence. Why would they sound like younger black men, right? This space is mainly Xers and millennials and some Gen Z. Yes, there's some boomers, but Xers and millennials. Why would an old white man who's probably established, probably okay, has the nuclear family, why would he be in these spaces? Right? So when FD tried to make that, I get where he's trying to go with it, but no, right? And Trell Bentley says, FD, you Negroes are too stupid to understand your own misogyny, and it's because of white supremacy. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, he kept on saying that. Oh, yeah. Kept on saying it, kept on suggesting it, kept on implying it. Right? Oh, yeah, Trell, yeah, he did say that. And implied it and suggested it. Now, when he got pinned to pretty much saying that the black community is a matriarchy, all of that goes out the window, what he says. Because, yeah, okay, yes, Mr. Z would concede white supremacy all day, all right, yeah, white supremacy. And your women are willful tools against you. Number one. Number one. Number two, if we Thanos snap white supremacy away tomorrow, how do you then incentivize the men, the black men, to still do for the women without the leadership role? And not only that, still take on the responsibility when everything hits the fan. If FD, let me give you a little something. You want to know the biggest gripe black men have with the whole matriarchy is that when the Titanic hits the iceberg, black men are still supposed to save everyone. Wait, but we weren't at the helm, and wait, we weren't in the office deciding everything, and wait, we weren't even part of the well-to-do on the boat, and we're not even the lead characters. We're not even Leonardo DiCaprio and what's her face, and you still gotta be the last one on the ship. Keep playing the music. Keep putting the kids and the women on the little buoys, on the little small boats, and you go down with the ship. But we weren't any part of leadership. So what? Right? That's one of black men's biggest gripes with this talk of the black matriarchy. Y'all didn't socialize the women on what that means for them in their life. You want to get rid of patriarchy, get rid of it all the way. That's what I was trying to say with the conversation about Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan gets to be petty. You want to get rid of patriarchy? Get rid of it all the way. We go in Dutch on dates. You could be walking with me. You get into an argument with a dude. He swing on you. You better eat that. You better fight him. Oh, well. Don't expect me to open doors. Don't expect me to pull out chairs. Right? Me and you get into it. If I was going to punch a man in the face, guess what? You getting punched in the face. By the way, flip that on its head because women initiate DV when it comes to men. You swing on me, and just like I wouldn't hold back on another dude, I'm not holding back on you. If you want to get rid of patriarchy, get rid of it all the way. And then tell women what that means for their life, by the way. They're yelling now that they 40% of them earn as much or more than their male counterparts. They're yelling now. So tell them when that 50-50 distribution, just eat it. Stop looking for dudes that's on your same level, because part of being in a matriarchal society means that you're going to be the breadwinner. Some of y'all are going to be the breadwinner. You just got to eat it and eat stay-at-home husbands. Eat that. And don't complain about it. And don't say, what happened to all the real men? Don't complain about the fact that y'all coming out here with college degrees and y'all not meeting as many men with college degrees. Right? Y'all want to get rid of patriarchy, get rid of it all the way, and then socialize the women too late for what that means. Y'all have it and y'all not going to. And by the way, if y'all really tell the women what's not going to come with patriarchy, let's see how many of them say, oh yeah, no, I'm not signing up for that. Right? Because y'all not honest with them. Y'all not. I'm talking about the everyday black woman. I'm not talking about the petite bourgeoisie. And thank you for the super chat, D. Scott. And D. Scott says maybe he'll buy a bigger shirt and pants. Right? Hysterical. Right. And thank you for the super chat. And Pensum says, Z, we ain't forget he called you a misogynist. You man. He walked it back a little bit when somebody said, are you saying Z is a misogynist? He's like, Z, nah. Yeah, he tried to walk it back. I'll give him that. He tried to walk it back. Right. Now, this is something else that I need to stress. We've reached the market cap of doing for women without doing for men. We've reached the market cap in the black community, I would argue in larger society, for advocating for women and telling men to get it how you live. We've reached the market cap of advocating for black women and then benign neglecting black men. We've reached the market cap of advocating for black girls and benign neglecting the black boys until too many of them are in prison, or air quotes, not on our daughter's level. Right? Black girls and black women will suffer because we've allowed black men and black boys to suffer. We picked a side. We back that side. I'm saying we as an overall society. I'm not saying black men or black, yeah. Well, yeah, black women did, right? We picked the side, we backed that side, and now we've reached the market cap of just doing for them. When I said y'all don't even know how to be selfish, right? What do you think I mean? Fine, you don't care about the men and the boys. Cool. You still didn't produce enough men and boys to do for your women. You didn't even produce the better wallets. Y'all looking for walking wallets and overglorified guard dogs. Meanwhile, you didn't put the boys in the gym, and you didn't make sure that they were good enough and sturdy enough wallets. You don't even know how to be selfish, right? To all of you elite, petite bourgeoisie black women. That's why so many of you are single. You thought you had a chance with the white dude, and you clearly don't. That's why so many of you are single as hell. All through New York, all through DC, all through Atlanta, all through Chicago, all through Houston, all through LA. All through Boston, all through Connecticut. Master's degree, PhDs all over the place. I ain't even gonna count the bachelor's degrees. Single like a loose leaf paper, crying yourself to sleep at night with your rose toy because you reached the market cap for advocating for black girls and black women and telling the black boys and black men to get it how they live. And now you got to come back to the black men and try to get them back on the plantation. How can we, and this is a larger conversation, this is actually bigger than just the black community. How can we get the men to do and tell them, okay, and you could kind of see Richard Reeves kind of saying this where he's going, okay, we need to find a way to get men to still do and uphold the society without the promise of a wife and kids and a legacy. Woo, how are we gonna do? How are we going to do that? Woo, how are we going to do that? Right? Particularly in the black community. Right? And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. What are we going to do to get these men back in line? Once again, shout out to you, brother Bernard Riley. Everybody on the panel played their part. Right? Thank you, Bernard. But I so regret not asking him that question. As a matter of fact, I said that on my damn what I should have said to FD Signifier on my video about that. I'm so glad Bernard did it and he pinned it. Y'all don't got no answers. Right? Now, let me say this very clear. Let's be very clear. FD kept on saying, the academy is trash. The academy is trash. We know this already. Trust me, we're on the receiving end of all their horrible theories. Black men are on the receiving end of all these intersectional theories about how men should move and should act. Straight men, whether there should even be a straight man, right? Black men are on the receiving end of all of that BS. We already know the academy's trash. Number one. But number two, let's stop talking about these intersectional feminists and their theories like they're missing something or it's a blind spot or they didn't account for it. No, it's intentional. Inflation, stagflation, intentional. The Fed is saying it. Yeah, some people are going to lose jobs, Yeah. Certain Americans going to have to feel the pinch. I really take umbrage with this idea that, oh, no, it's just blind spots and, they haven't really thought about this or no, intentional. The boys and the men will have to suffer while we prop up the girls and the women. For them, it is a zero-sum game. White elite men decided to choose women over men. They thought of them as more pliable, more controllable, and cheaper. Y'all don't even know how to tie capitalism into this. All y'all anti-capitalists, y'all don't want to be honest. Okay, the capitalists chose the women over the men because they're cheaper and more pliable. I saw some of the brothers in the comments saying FD's a Marxist and that. Not really. Their critiques stop right at the door of critiquing the women and how they play a role in this negatively. They won't pass that line. Negatively, very more importantly, knowingly. I want to be very clear, brother. Particularly the petite bourgeoisie, but even your everyday black woman knows she can weaponize the cops against black men. Patriarchy be damned. You could Thanos snap patriarchy away tomorrow. But particularly the petite bourgeoisie, these academics, these black female elites, these black women elites, the professional managerial class, you could call it. Well, the professional managerial class is not really elite. That's not the same thing. But the petite bourgeoisie and the professional managerial class of black women, petite bourgeoisie and professional managerial class have a whole lot of overlap. It's the elite that's above. So let's make sure we say this again. The elite and the petite bourgeoisie of black women knowingly, let me say it again, knowingly are on the extreme feminist kick. I would like to direct you to Kim Foster. That's why I keep on bringing that up. Let's bring back "We don't need these Negroes" feminism. And in her talk about that, And in other content that she's put out before, she said it. I know I'm gonna be lonely. I know I'm gonna be this, right? And she said, with all the shortcomings of girl boss feminism and da 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 da, let's bring back we don't need these Negroes feminism. Meanwhile, black women are suffering because of that same rhetoric for decades. So I want to be very clear. This is not a blind spot. This is not a miscalculation. This is not any of that. This is knowingly. This is not ignorance. Black women academics stepped on black men so they can have tenure and spend 4 decades in academia. 3 and 4 decades in academia. And the black women that are attached to those everyday black men, they were perfectly okay with watching those black women suffer also. Right? They were perfectly okay and are perfectly okay with that. And y'all give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Mr. Z will be right back. And we're back. We're back. We're back. Next point, right? I already mentioned the social dominance order. What was next? Okay. Also, I wanted to say this. Now, FD, you kind of understand why so many brothers are flirting with conservatism, right? This is why I don't fault brothers that are conservatives. Not all the way. We're gonna have those debates. You know, like I said, election cycle is on. Let's have those conversations. But now you get it because they're looking at the left, and by the way, the right don't have no answers either. That's what we're gonna be debating about, right? That's gonna be the fun part. But when brothers who families tend to default to the left, this is why they're so anti-left, because they grew up watching their parents vote Democrat, and then they're like, wait a minute, what in the hell? So imagine you grew up in a matriarchal home, you grew up in a matriarchal community, you grew up with your parents voting Democrat, particularly your mother and your aunts and your grandma and whatnot, your girl cousins, your older sister and everything. And then, right, you wake up to the fact that the left don't got no answers for you, but just accept this rainbow flag stuff and everything will be all right. Let go of that whole toxic concept you have of patriarchy and manhood, and everything will be okay. That's your problem. And excuse the windshield wipers. I know y'all can hear it in the background. My apologies, everybody. My apologies. Right? That's why so many of these boys and these men are like, yeah, no, screw that. Right? And it's gonna sound extreme. It's going to sound extreme because what has gone on with them in their life feels extreme. Right? That's why so many of these boys and men are saying, screw the left. So you can say the right doesn't have any answers. I can say it. I've said it. The right doesn't have any answers. And like the brothers respond to me, yeah, but at least they pretend to care about men over there. At least they pretend to give a F about your plight, and then don't tell you just, okay, we're just going to continue doing what we were going to do anyway. You know, the whole propping up of women and not telling them what comes with that. Fine, prop up the women. Tell them what come with them, with you propping them up. By the way, we're going to get to the point where we're 60% women graduating college, entering college than men, and that's going to mess with some of your dating. That's going to mess with some of your marriage. That's going to mess with some of the way you see men. Y'all are not even doing that. So of course the men, black men, are going to flirt with the right a little bit more. Why not? Because at least for them, there's at least some semblance of masculinity over there on the right. At least the right is saying something about manhood and masculinity. And when they say that, what can I say to that? Now we know it's a bunch of BS and ain't nobody going back to no 1950s, which wasn't even real, leave it to beaver type relationship. And when I say not real outside of like the very handful of well-to-do white dudes and like kind of their time of professional managerial class of white men. Right? This is why we say, shout out to the brother AB Media. This is why we say like the left, the Democrats have a man problem. More acutely a black men. Yes, I know black men vote Democrat at some 80 some odd percent, over 80% actually. 85, 87%. Yes. But as more and more these conversations have, you don't think that's going to tick down? As black men realize the left really don't have no answers. They just want me to be comfortable, not just with female leadership. Let me make sure I say that. Not just with female leadership. Female leadership and an abdication of responsibility when things go wrong. Female leadership and black man cleanup. Black female leadership and black man cleanup. That's one of the major things that black men have an issue with in these spaces. That's the part y'all keep on ignoring. That part. Right? And so shout out to Black Wizard, right? When he said FD is here to kind of pull from this space and show that there's a more sensible black man out there that's also talking about black male issues. Well, FD has already said that. He said that on a recent interview with T Noir, right? When Kevin died, he knew there was going to be a vacuum, kind of a power vacuum, right? And so he was going to fill that with some of his stuff and to show you don't have to be air quotes misogynist. They have a real problem holding black women to task over there, right? And I'm saying that because in saying this, I remembered him bringing up the young lady, the average at best lady, like Kevin attacked her. Y'all need to stop. The lady went on there on a day when it wasn't even that topic, forced the topic, told you who she wasn't going to settle for, minimized working class men, right? Told you she's a 5, a 6 with makeup. And y'all still talking about her like this is a little girl that Kevin Samuels mauled. Grown woman with a child. I think what her son was 13 or something like that. Grown woman. Y'all keep talking about her like she was a little girl. Right? So this is why you get the pushback you do, brother. And thank you for engaging with us. Shout out to Bernard, brother. Great job. Great job. And one thing I admire about Bernard Riley, he gonna let you get your point off, and he's pretty even keel, right? What else I got? Oh, he went out. He wanted It Is What It Is to talk because he saw him as the weakest link. When Bernard Riley was making a very poignant point and wanted it to end there, right? He wanted It Is What It Is to talk because he saw him as the weakest. Let me see what this brother gonna say, huh? Right? That was a part of my notes. But a point that Ed made is the lying by omission. Great point. How these people lie by omission. They got all the data. They have all the studies. They know them. They go hide them in some obscure journal that no one reads. Or they don't speak it at all. Oh, we got this data out here? Hide that. Put it in the Library of Congress. Put it on the top floor in the back behind them, right? They lie by omission because when we really start talking, they want to play Oppression Olympics. When we really start talking about it, it's going to look real ugly. Black women don't actually, these particular black women, these elite black women, the petite bourgeoisie and the elite black women, the academics don't actually want to start playing Oppression Olympics. They talk like they do. They don't actually want to play that game. And once again, I always say, I don't think we should. I'm not advocating for playing top trumps in front of white folks of who has it worse in the black community. I don't want to play that game. But if we're going to play that game, in all honesty, black women, by dictates of social dominance order, you're not going to be the one to win that. As a matter of fact, it's going to show, particularly over the past 50 or some odd years, that black women have been playing their role in keeping black men down. Right? That's why I'm saying you don't want to play that game. Be careful. Right? Be careful. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So this needed to be done. Shout out to FD for pulling up, right? I got to give him that, pulling up, having the conversation. Shout out to Bernard Riley for leaving the door open and asking, well, not asking him, but leaving the door open for the brother to come back on, right? Shout out to the other brothers that kept it cordial, kept themselves disciplined, right? Shout out to all of you for making the point. Ed, thank you for the shout out. Ed, thank you for definitely talking about the line by omission. Shout out to that brother Edward Edison, right? Shout out to BGS just carpet bombed everything and then left. Understand why he left, yeah, some of us got to work on our discipline on some of these things. I understand. Shout out to Bernard Riley. Once again, just great. SKC, look, you got me agreeing with SKC, brother. FD, you got me agreeing with SKC. Jesus Christ. Right? But to be honest, and SKC and me share that alike. We do find FD signifier interesting because we want to see how far you go before you start really saying, all right, yeah, these women over here are sexist as hell. And they really don't mean right by black men, and they're playing zero-sum politics with the black community. They're just mad that too many black men are waking up too damn early and black men are taking their ball and going home. We're going to wait. I don't know about, let me take that back. Let me don't put words in SKC's mouth. Mr. Z is waiting to see how long it's going to take FD before he finally says, okay, all right, y'all got a point. They're full of crap. They're never going to do right by black men. They're not going to, they're going to play, advocate. They're not going to do right by black men. So let me get this right. The civil rights movement with black men talked about black women. They talked about the black family. They talked about the black unit. And when things look like they might have even got a little sexist in the Black Panther Party, they rejiggered it. Now, okay, we're going to do black men cook sometimes, black women cook sometimes. It looked like it was a little far left. But when black women get the helm, it's F black men just bow down. Don't worry, FD, we waiting. Right? We're waiting. You realize it already. You just not saying it. You're going to get to the point where you're going to have to say it. And shout out to the brothers on Bernard Riley panel because y'all were putting in that work. And Bernard, excuse me, FD don't got to be the only one. Kim, where you at? The women ain't going to come. So, yeah, you know. Pun intended. Giggity. Right? The women they might snoop in. I'm not saying they do. They might snoop in. I actually kind of agree with FD that they don't want nothing to do with this space, right? Which to their own detriment. And let me get that off real quick. To their own detriment, because as more and more of your subscribers start yelling, start screaming, as they go from their 20s to their 30s to their 40s, and they're yelling about the struggle, as they're still living at home with their parents in their 40s, and all your answers is, well, let's bring back these, we don't need these Negroes feminism. As they're screeching, Kim Foster, Khadijah, I want to know what your answers are going to be. Is your answer going to be, well, just, have you ever considered being queer, Khadijah? Is that going to be your answer? I mean, you did say, you know, you straight folks over there, you straight women, I kind of feel sorry for you. Right? Is that what you're going to tell them? This is why I don't really deal with the men's over there. This is why I don't do the straight stuff. Right? So as those women yell and screech and cry themselves to sleep, What is going to be y'all answers? What's the answer? Right? What's the answer? Because we heard Kim Foster's answer. Let's bring back, we don't need these Negroes feminism. You know, let me make sure I got off all the points. Look, right? And so this was a, great. Thank you for pulling up, FD. Bernard, gracious host, right? But y'all gonna have to engage with Black. And as much as FD says he doesn't need to be here, I get it. I understand. Cool. You got your numbers. You got your subscribers, right? Air quotes. Without being misogynistic, yeah, but you ain't really challenging anything over there, brother. There's always been brothers like you that kind of do the tiptoeing, like, the men gotta look with the team, kind of a point, and they always shut y'all down. They always shut y'all down because it's the Kim Foster type women that run things over there. It's the Khadijah type women that run things over there. It's the T-Nor type women that run things over there. And T-Nor is not even the worst of them. Right? It's the Cat Black women that run things over there. Right? Yep. You're going to have to deal with what men in general, Black men specifically, are saying. Your ideology sucks. You didn't socialize the women adequately enough for what you're even advocating for. All these BS equality, right? And egalitarianism, you didn't even socialize the. Wait a minute. So y'all spent decades trying to socialize the men and y'all told the women nothing. So now the women are out here looking for, air quotes, high value. Rest in peace, Kevin. Looking for high value men, and you even tell them, oh yeah, about that. Okay, okay, we're actually working on bringing you up to speed and bringing you on the same level as the men, or doing better than the men. So yeah, about that about the high value man thing. Yeah, see, that kind of flies in the face of this egalitarian thing that we're working on. Really feminist thing, egalitarian thing that we're working on, right? What in the hell have y'all been doing for the past 5-6 decades, right? Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. And yes, PK, I did read your comment about no one hears when I go over the train tracks. I read the comment, right? I say it anyway, right? I say it anyway. It's a staple on this channel now. I got to say it now, right? But yeah, what have y'all been doing for the past few decades? So we socialize the men to be okay with female bosses. We socialize the men to be okay with the girls being the valedictorian, the women being valedictorian, the women and all and their attitudes and their demeanor. We socialize the men to be okay. You know what? Yeah, I get it. I'm okay with Black women attorneys and Black women doctors, and we socialize the men for that. And the women, have we socialized the women for this power? Ooh, and the responsibility. This is This is the thing that aggravates Mr. Z the most. Did you socialize them to accept responsibility for when the Titanic hits the iceberg? No, ladies, you're the one who's gonna have to die on this ship. Nah, the men and the kids get on the boat. Or, because y'all really don't want to play this game, the strongest and fastest, whoever make it onto the boat first, get on the small boats. Y'all really don't want to play that game. Right? Because there'll be a whole lot of women being thrown overboard. All this talk of egalitarianism, and y'all didn't actually socialize the women for it. Really, feminism. Y'all didn't really socialize the women for it. That's why they were on Kevin's show. They didn't get the memo, FD. Or they got the memo and they hate it. Right? Horrible. Y'all did a horrible job over the past few decades. You know? So now that we know they don't really have any incentive for the men, well, and there go passport bros, and there go SYSBM. We finally got our answer. There they go. Now that we know, now we know it. They don't have an answer. We already knew. I've said it before. We already speculated, but now it's confirmed. They don't actually have an answer on how to incentivize the boys and the men. That conversation's done. And Bernard put a death knell to the conversation's done now. To all you passport bros and to all you SYSBM, you've been vindicated beyond anything anybody can ever say now. It's done. It's done. This is a brother that's rubbing elbows with certain academics. He's rubbing elbows with people on the left. He's rubbing elbows with the bread tube, black bread tube, and the overall bread tube. And he's just told, yeah, we don't have no answers. Right? So at this point, so I'm gonna keep a record of this, right? Kim telling you bring back we don't need these Negroes feminism, and FD saying, yeah, we don't really got no answers. Right? And I'm gonna go, I might do something tomorrow morning specifically, and emphasizing Bernard pretty much saying, so this is supposed to be a matriarchy and the men are supposed to get down with that for what now? Right? Now we finally hear it. They don't really got no answers. And yes, it's supposed to be a matriarchy. Right? So Tiffany Cross spilt the beans a little too early. Right? And let's be remember, I want to be accurate. She said get in line with black women or next to black women. She didn't say get in line behind, but she said get in line behind. Right? Her words were either get in line next to or get in line with black women. No, but she really said get in line behind black women. So now that she spilled the beans and FD done spilled the beans again, I mean, so Kim, you could cut it with the problem is with these passport bros is that they're piling crap. Excuse my language, all the shit they're throwing on black women's backs, just more shit thrown on black women. Now we know that now your ideological side, Miss Foster, your ideological side, sit it. He said it. It's a matriarchy, and yeah, right. And shout out to Big Kev. Thank you for the super chat, Big Kev. And Big Kev says nothing over there but rainbows, koofies, and misandry. For real though, right? Jesus Christ. Now, hey, FD, you know, brother, you're always welcome to come on my channel, or speak to me. I'm open to speaking to Kim. I won't be rude or disrespectful to any one of the ladies. Khadijah, anybody could pull up. Anyone could pull up, right? Even the divestors, any one of y'all could pull up, right? But like I said, let these people talk long enough, and I'm coming to a close. But yeah, so now we know. Now we know. You know. But yeah, there's definitely things. And give me a second, you guys talk amongst yourselves. Give me a second. And now we know. Now we know. Now we know what it is and what they're about, right? And so yeah, and like Cheryl said, real move in silence. So now we know, but yeah, y'all just be careful out there what y'all doing, right? Don't get caught up. Y'all see, how they try to bury Austin and just yeah, right? But outside of that, yeah, it's done. It's done so. That's it, right? That's it. We got no answers for you. We got no solutions. None of it, right? And so that needs to be known, spread it far and wide in the Black Manosphere that these people don't have an answer. They admitted they don't have an answer, and they're just gonna try to shame you, right? Shame you and insult you, right? Shame, insults, guilt, the need to be right you into doing for Black women with no incentive, no rewards, not even respect. Do all of that to be insulted and be belittled. Y'all give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Let's see why. There we go. Start getting real glitchy after a while. I don't know what's going on, but this thing started getting glitchy. And excuse my background, everyone. So, coming to a close, thank y'all for listening in. Yeah, it was a great conversation to me. It was needed. Um, Now we know these people that truly don't have an answer, and they will continue to gaslight us, call us misogynistic, because we're actually asking for something for our support of propping up black women. We're actually asking for something for our support, and that's sexist and misogynist, right? How dare you, black man? How dare you want something for your support? Sexist, misogynistic fools, you. Yeah, you sexist, misogynistic fools, you. So yeah, now we know, you know. Um, I think there's more to glean from FD signifier. You know, I think there's more to take away, but I think he said a lot. He said a lot, but he's still a black man, and I think hearing it from FD is important, but still a black man, right? That's why I check out these other people's channels, because the women saying it. Well, the women have said it. The women have said it. They're not going to come over here to engage with us. They won't even allow us over there to engage with them, right? So we're in this place. Because what would be the argument? Mr. Z would just be like, all right, fine. Then eat the consequences and let your subscribers know what the consequences are. And then even when we take it off the internet, let overall society know what the consequences are. Fine. We don't have no answers for why men should continue, shout out to Sarge Willie Pete, continue to build and maintain the physical infrastructure of this society. And I would love to hear what Sarge Willie Pete has to say about this if he eventually hears it, right? What do you think about this, right? And thank you for that compliment, Rogish. And Rogish says, I told myself Z is gonna rip this dude when he get a chance because it was bad look on Bernard's panel. Man, I am so mad at myself. But I was asleep. I was sleep. I was asleep. Right. Oh, my bad, Rogish. I was asleep. And but not only that, Rogish, when you were doing your live stream, because I was lost. I saw your thumbnail, and that's why I went to go see it. It was between you, Kareem, D Scott. There was a couple of people that I saw either comments from or like hitting me up, and I'm like, what did I miss? And I'm like, wait, Bernard, wait, what? Because I just heard random things about FD, and I'm like, wait, so he pulled up again or what? Right? And that's why I said BGS was right. BGS said he wasn't going nowhere. And BGS said this will change him. GC, yeah, right. He said, so FD came in and bodied them? Nope. Nope. On the contrary, sir. On the contrary. Right. No, definitely not that. Definitely not that. Right. And Demetrius says, Mr. Z, by the way, did you want me to email you the video of Donovan? Yeah. Actually, yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right. And I'm careful on saying who bodied who more than say it allowed for everyone to see some of what this conversation really is. And I want to actually say this. Something that I think FD was trying to say is when he said I only call myself an intersectional feminist here, right? So when he said here, he meant the Black Manosphere. I think what he was saying is I'm actually not an intersectional feminist in the way you think, but I know that that's going to be an insult levied at me, so I'm going to own it now. But the academy definitely, I know I'm not them, right? So I think that's what he was trying to say, and excuse me for maybe putting words in his mouth, but I think that's what he was getting at, right? Like, I'm really not what y'all think I am, but I'm gonna claim it so that we can move on with the conversation, right? Right. And Rogish says, I figured he had enough respect as being somewhat of a rival to you within the space, but he made himself look so bad I wouldn't even qualify him as being your rival. Plus, he argues like a chick, fam. Look, I'll say this: FD Signifier represents he represents black male feminists and quite frankly, he's not the worst. Believe it or not, FD's not the worst. And I think we need to not miss what he was speaking about when he was speaking about using an intersectional feminist lens to view the world, right? And that's what he was speaking to, by the way. And when he was saying it, I don't know how many of the brothers caught that on the panel. And he's also learning how to view what's going on in the world through other lenses. So that got him to a certain point, right? And now he's viewing things through other lenses and then critiquing these things that he's seeing through those other lenses, right? And so this is where Dr. Tommy Curry comes in, and Dr. T. Hassan Johnson comes in, and maybe even Dr. Green Gorilla comes in, right? So the intersectional feminist lens got him so far. This is where BGS comes in and says, this will change you. Told him, hey, don't stop playing with it. Hey, bro, stop playing with it, because you keep on playing with it over here, and this will change you. So this is where BGS comes in when BGS said that about FD Signifier. You keep on snooping around in these places, thinking you only doing research, and this is going to change you, right? So I want us to be clear, like, what he said about um him calling himself a intersectional feminist only in these spaces. I hate you for this, Better You. And Better You said, you went back to college yet? Look, I got a whole plan of action that I need to take before we could even think about that right now. But it's on the itinerary. It's on the itinerary of things that need to be done sometime this lifetime. But yeah, no, for real. And then not even the near-ish future, like in the near future, but there's other things that are going to take precedent first. Oh, I don't know about that. Better You says Dr. Z has a good ring to it. Just saying, bro, why are you trying to send me to school for another decade? God, I'm in my mid-30s. You trying to send me to school until I'm in my mid-40s at the least, right? Hey, don't let Dr. Thunder get a hold of this. He really gonna be on my ass, right? And Rogan said, "That's Braille. I was waiting, fam. I still think he got off hella light." Man, look, you know. And Trell Bentley says, for real, I always wanted to Dr. Bentley. Trell, it'll be Dr. Bentley, and then you got to own a Bentley, right? Thank you, Pensive, and that's my point. And Pensive says FD isn't close to the worst. If he was, he'd never come here, let alone keep coming back. I agree. I agree. And like I said, shout out to the panel. The brothers that kept it cordial, that stuck to the points. They had their hey, like I said, I got my issues with SKC, but SKC was ready. SKC was ready. And Game Changer. Shout out to Game Changer. Game Changer was ready. Right? They were the epitome of if you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready. Them boys they were ready. You hear me? God damn. And then BGS pulled up. God. Look, I was asleep, man. I think it was probably still going on when I woke up, but I just, I had things to do, I had to get ready for work, and et cetera, et cetera. Man, I'm so beating myself up for not being there. But at the same time, Bernard did what I was gonna try to do anyway. Just get to the point of asking, okay, so what's in it for the men, and how do you incentivize the men to uphold their part of? But here's the thing. I was gonna say social contract. What social contract? Right? That part. Right? What social contract? But okay, let's assuming there's a social contract. What incentive to have the men uphold their part of it? Right? And I'm so glad that Bernard said it and he came back on. See, Bernard said that when he came back on. Thank God, he came back on. But if Bernard didn't say that, I would have been like, God damn, we let him go again. Right? And I just would have been waiting on bated breath. Please show up to my channel again. Please show up to my channel again. Right? Because it's not about just baiting him. I just want to be very clear. It's not about baiting FD, but it is about, we need to hear it from these particular brothers and sisters' mouths that they don't actually have an answer on why we should uphold this matriarchy. Right? And it was very important that someone say it or ask the question and have that side of the ideological spectrum, we'll say, and this conversation about black men and black women, because I know so much of if we start talking about race things, I know me and FD will align. We start talking about class and economy, will align. We start talking about capitalism, will align. But this thing right here with the men and women, no. And it was important that someone ask the question, what in it for the men? And what incentives do you have for the men? Right? And I think Bernard actually did a better job than I probably would have done, given such short notice, and just laying it out. So continue the matriarchy, but have men play second fiddle to the women. Why? Right? And Demetrius says, and thank you for the super chat, brother. Demetrius says, sorry, Z, I just looked at Donovan privated his Manosphere video, but the shorts from it are still up. I'll send those and a couple of other videos. Perfect. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Well, get ready for that content. Right? Donovan, you can pull up whenever. Right? You can pull up whenever, Donovan. I've been watching you since I've been pause on that, by the way. I've been watching you on the grapevine since what, 20 not 2012, 2011? And then I went back and watched all the old stuff. Right? Maybe even before that. Was it before 2012, 2011, 2013, something like that? Like I said, and I went back and watched all the old stuff. Right? because the grapevine was actually having these conversations. Now they had an extreme feminist bend, extreme feminist leaning, right? But they were actually having the conversation at the table. And I used to watch it for that. And every once in a while, I have my mom listening in. My mom be like, "You young people are crazy," right? So on that note, y'all, hour 45. Thank y'all for listening in. I'm gonna close it out. Let me close it out for real. Damn you, damn you, better you. I just counted. I was like, I think I said that like 3 or 4 times, right? And did the grapevine end? I don't know. I I I, I gotta use the word feel because it's the best word to utilize for this. I feel like I saw something where they were speaking like they were on TV now, right? Because I know at one point they were really trying to push people to pay for Patreon, right? And I don't know how that actually turned out, right? They started hiding some of the really good stuff behind Patreon, you know, and okay, cool, get your money. But then I don't know how that turned out. But I also feel like I heard something like they eventually like got a TV deal or something like that. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, Demetrius answered it. It says pensive, yes, and Donovan started a podcast called Strange Fruit Universe. Okay, okay. Oh, okay. Demetrius said yes, they ended. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Yeah, because I noticed I was like, okay, they're not really because it started the show started to get fewer and fewer, you know, and then I was just like, well, I guess they're gonna take a couple of years off and try to regroup and come back, you know. And like I kept on saying, my mom would ask me because she would see the look on my face and the comments I would make, occasionally listening in, or if I'm bringing her somewhere, I would be listening into it on the car, and she would be like, why do you listen to this?" And I'm like, "Mom, you have to understand these are movers and shakers behind the background, right?" Like I told y'all, I remember seeing Mouse in the audience for something once when I was watching it. I remember um whichever one of the brothers when the whole debacle with Soren and what's his face, anyway, debacle with Soren, something she said about one of the artists, I forgot his name, his face is right in my mind. Anyway, and one of the brothers brought them in, and it was like uh um Hot 97 studio, right? So like these are movers and shakers in the background, and I was like, "Mom, you have to understand. Like these are the type of people that we don't ever get to see, but they're like screenwriters. They're producers. They're the people that work with artists behind the scenes. They're these people. These are the people, right? Oh, Bruno Mars. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars. Yeah. And Seren said something about Bruno Mars, and then I remember like the Grapevine cast minus Seren were in the studio of Hot 97 or something like that later on speaking about it. And I just went, okay, so yeah, so what I thought was confirmed. These are people like the movers and shakers behind the background that we don't get to see. And these are the ideas that they uphold about black men. As you can that panel was just chock full of like feminists and extreme feminists. And yes, they would bring on other people to have the conversation. But Ashley and Ashley wasn't the worst. Uchechi, Jesus Christ. Jesus. First of all, I just want y'all to know I hate that y'all making better you right. But, Uchechi, there was another one that came in later on in their later seasons. Bobo, a couple of the others that would come on, right? And y'all just gotta remember these are movers and shakers, man. A couple of them slipped up and said, "Oh, I've been making six figures for a few years. What are you talking about?" And like they making money. They're influential, they're making money, they're connected behind the scenes, and then you wonder how we get the bigger long character in Harriet. You wonder why we get a remake of The Color Purple. You wonder how that's happening. Right? Then you find out that these are the type of people behind the scenes. Right? And maybe I might have to do it. And Pensive said, I tried to get Easy to review Grapevine. He wouldn't do it. And maybe I would have to go watch a bunch of their episodes all over again. Get triggered all over again. Right? Jeez. It's just, yeah. So that's that. So remember, black men, you got the Kim Fosters on one side, you got the Uchechis on the other side. Right? And then the black community act like they don't understand. And these elite black women and the petite bourgeoisie black women act like they don't understand why black men are the way they are right now in the black community. And Uchechi's the child of immigrants. And if I'm not mistaken, she went to was it Rutgers or one of those? I don't know if it was Ivy League or like one of the second tier. It was a notable school that she attended. Or it starts with a D. If it's not Rutgers, it's she said Dartmouth. One of those like very notable schools. Very. She said it one time on an episode. Right. And this, and as much reservations as I have for Tariq, when he say tethers, you're the child of African immigrants talking real reckless about black men in general. Like black American men ever had this particular patriarchy that you're talking about, and they could just reign over black American women. Right? And you could smell the misandry just dripping off of everything she says about black men. Uchechi was the worst. You could smell the I'm mad these Negroes wasn't checking for me in middle school and high school and college. You could smell it. And I detest that we continue to talk about black men that way and not black women. That's why I keep on telling you, let them talk. That's why I came to y'all. They still mad about who didn't want them in high school. And you let Kim talk long enough, she admitted it. You let Khadijah talk long enough, she admitted it. You let Yanni talk long enough, she admitted it. Right? Cynthia G, just let him talk. Right? And better uses for Pasta Z collection plate. Hysterical. And Rogan said Dartmouth. I think she said it was either Rutgers, Dartmouth, one of those like very notable schools that's damn near Ivy League, right? If it's not Ivy League, I don't remember all the list of Ivy League schools. So it's like one of those, excuse me, very notable schools on that kind of level, right? And better use is hold up. There's a Color Purple remake in the works. From what I know, right? So I'm not gonna let this go to 2 hours. I'm not gonna let it happen. So let's let's do our closing and thank y'all for listening in. And I'll you know what I'll go back and listen and watch a bunch of old Grapevine stuff and we'll have that conversation. We'll have that conversation, right? They're so lucky the Black Manosphere wasn't where it is now when they were producing all that content years ago. Because ooh, we would have been on them. We would have been on them, right? So and like I said, like that's the thing with you know. And GC said you got another hour in you, Z, right? Right. Pensive said, okay, thank you, Pensive. And Pensive says Ivy League. Dartmouth, Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Penn State, Columbia, Cornell, and Brown. Okay, thank you. So if she did go to Dartmouth, she did go to Ivy League. But I don't remember if she said Dartmouth and Rutgers are the two that stick it out of my mind of what she said. But I don't remember which one it was. Right? And the point of all of this is to say these are the movers and shakers in the background. Harvard, well, I kept on saying she attended Harvard, but I didn't know that she graduated because she was speaking as if she didn't. But, according to Obsidian, Harvard grad, Kim Foster, and then maybe Dartmouth grad or Rutgers grad or one of those, Ivy League, near Ivy League school level grad, Uchechi. And these are the people that's talking to white people about black men. Okay. All right. Thank you, Trell. Penn is Penn University. Penn is University of Pennsylvania, not Penn State. Okay. UPenn, not Penn State. Thank you, guys. I stand corrected. Right. And these are the people, y'all. Yikes. Ugh. What do you do with that? FD, you proved our point. As a matter, how did I forget that? Let's try to end that on that point. When they essentially said, "Yeah, these schools are full of women," and he pushed back, and they got him right back to pretty much saying, "Yeah, that's what we're trying to say. The teachers are black women, right? The school board is black women. Their single parent is a black woman." And then you wonder why your boys can't read on reading level? Right? And you wonder why? Y'all forgot who's who. You can't claim to be the backbone of the black community, but then once again, when we hit that iceberg, you don't know what to do. Well, black men, you're gonna clean up, right? Or you're gonna sacrifice yourself so we could get on the small boats, right? So, you know, y'all give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. All right, Mr. Z is back. Mr. Z is back. Right. So, yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. So let's do this. Let's pause for now. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe. Um, definitely share, and we will speak about something else in the morning. Maybe. Let me check out some of this Donovan stuff. Right? Detroit said, "You still here?" Exactly. All right. I'm right. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. All right. So like, share, subscribe. I'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Right. Thank you, Detroit. Let them know. Mr. Z got stuff to do. Got work to do. Literally. Um, like, share, subscribe. I'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, right? And go check out other Black Manosphere content. That way, when FD come around saying that, Just Pearly thing, and he didn't say it, but he said it. That Just Pearly Things is like the king of the Black Manosphere, and why y'all let that happen? Y'all could be like, well, actually, this is the history. This is this. This is that. Yeah, like Bernard did. Right? Great job, Bernard. Great job, brother Bernard. So we'll end it there for now. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Yeah, man, this was the great conversation. Shout out to everybody that was coming through on the panel. Great job, right? And I understand Mr. Fantastic's frustration. I get it, but yeah, yeah. We'll just end it there. And GCC, damn, we almost got him. Nah, right? I already said I wasn't going to go over past 2 hours, and I did. So, all right, you guys, have a great rest of your night. Thank you for listening in. All right, Mr. Z out.